into the committee as a whole. All good. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour?
No?
Against? That's carried. Item 6 is the confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Oldham, seconded by Councillor Travers. Everybody okay with the minutes? I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 7 is rescission motion, item 21 of September 2021 council meeting, a business paper I should say, Eugowra Medical Centre refurbishment. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Jones, seconded by Councillor Oldham. Councillor Jones, wish to speak to that?
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor. Just very quickly, I just want to place on the record, as was explained at the last council meeting when we discussed this matter, the word abandoning in point 1 of the motion was purely for legal reasons. At no point was council ever going to walk away and abandon this project, which was made quite clear in point 2, where we said we would continue to work with the committee. Since then, the reason for the rescission motion is because we have had further discussions. We have looked at further alternatives, sites and options, and the timeframes that those options would develop into, and it has been looked at, and I think the best outcome, and the reason for this rescission motion is that the best outcome for the community and for council is if we forge ahead with the current plant or the previous plant. We currently have some funding on the table from the federal government, and we'll continue to look for alternative funding sources to make this work, because it is important for the Eugowra community. Thank you.
Anybody wish to speak against it? I'll put that. All those in favour?
No?
Against? That's carried. Item 8 is consideration of council's meeting scheduled for December 2021 and January 2022. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Oldham, seconded by Councillor Nash. Any discussion on that at all? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour?
No?
Against? That's carried. Item 9 is delegation to the General Manager, caretaker provisions. What an item this is. Item 9. Mover?
I'll move.
Moved by Councillor Weaver, seconded by Councillor Oldham. Any discussion on that at all? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 10 is the pecuniary interest returns for 2021. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Davidson, seconded by Councillor Newsom. And there they are there, being tabled. Any discussion on that at all? I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 11 is the quarterly budget review. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Travers, seconded by Councillor Nash. Any discussion on that at all? All good? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 12 is variation to Cabon family and daycare fees and charges. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Jones, seconded by Councillor Weaver. Any discussion on that at all, apart from a very good thing? Would you speak to that, Councillor Jones?
Yeah, if I could just quickly, yourself and I met with Andrew G to make this funding announcement or make a funding announcement which is leading to these changes in fees and charges, and I just think it's worth, and I know Mr G did acknowledge on the day the work that our family daycare coordinator Rachel Geddes does, and her staff, and along with all the carers, the great work they do. This purely is around encouraging or making family daycare more accessible to families, and providing some additional support to educators. And it's a great service they run, and yeah, congratulate them on getting this grant, which has led to a reduction in fees and charges.
Yeah, absolutely, well said. And, it was amazing the figures on how many children are signed up to that and how many are actually waiting. Still got 185 waiting to get on the list, so it's incredible. Any further discussion on that at all? No, I'll put that. All those in favour?
Yep.
Against? That's carried. All right, item 14 is your Yarra Medical Centre refurbishment project. Could I have a mover, please? Okay. Sorry, I wanted to get finished earlier.
No, look after my people. 13, please.
Item 13 is the request to access reserve funds after school care Molong startup. Mover, please.
I'll move it.
Moved by councillor
I'll
Davis.
second it.
Seconded by councillor Newsom. Any discussion on that at all? Done. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour?
Right.
Against? That's carried. See, there's no problems at all. Item 14 is the Yarra Medical Centre refurbishment project. Could I have a mover of that, please? Moved by councillor Weaver, seconded by councillor Nash. Any discussion at all on that? All right. I'll put that. All those in favour?
Right.
Against? That's carried. Item 15 is the Regional Town Water Strategy Memo of Understanding. Now, can I just have a mover, please, first for that? Moved by councillor Davison, seconded by councillor Nash. And just a point of clarification, the annexure is the incorrect annexure. It's a report, and it should be the memorandum agreement, which everybody has got a copy of on their desk. So I'll just amend that. And any further discussion on that at all?
I think it's a very good decision, this town water strategy, because it's been a long time coming. And I congratulate both the General Manager and the Mayor for getting this far with it.
Yeah, thank you. And well said there. That it has been a bit of a journey with this, and the staff have done a great job. Not just the General Manager, other staff have been working very hard and tirelessly on this ever since we were in drought. Coming out with an alternative. Yes, yes. And as a General Manager, it's only the start of the journey. Yeah. But anyway, it's very good. We've started.
One question, that revised agreement, will that be public? Yeah, okay, so that's fine, it'll be up there.
All right, no further discussion? I'll put that. All those in favour?
Right.
Against? That's carried. Item 16 is the fixing local roads acceptance of funding. Could I-
I'll move that.
Moved by councillor Newsom, seconded by councillor Oldham. Got in first. Any discussion on that at all?
No.
No discussion. I'll put that. All those in favour?
No.
Against? That's carried. Item 17 is rural road maintenance wet weather impact. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by councillor Davis, seconded by councillor Nash. Any discussion on that at all? Yeah, we could have a quick update from the Deputy General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. With regards to the current impacts we're feeling, we have our staff working up to 6 days a week at the moment, working for roster days off and on Saturdays in an attempt to keep up with the work. The battle that we're faced with is a lot more than just filling potholes. We do have a lot of subsurface drainage issues with water coming up through the ground and into the road pavements, which are taking substantial repairs. We've been working around the clock on this work. We are sourcing some casual labour hire to help us get through the work. We are getting there, but it is a struggle. So I implore some patience with regards to how we go through. We are triaging quite a lot of work at the moment, but we are backing that with permanent fixes also. The money that's been requested in this report, whilst we don't have a budgetary issue at this stage, on our current expenditure rate, we would expect to start having some shortfalls in funding by the end of the summer. So this is preempting the financial issues that we will have later in the year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Martin.
Just to ask a quick question. Matt, I noted in there that you indicated that we've expended about 42% of the annual budget in 25% of the financial year. What's that equate to in actual work that you had already planned to be done? Or is it all of this just emergency stuff that's coming as a result of the impact of the weather?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I wouldn't say it's all maintenance and operations by its definition is partly programmed and partly reactive. We have definitely been on the side of reactive with the early onset, but we've been backing that with proactive works. As Council will recall at its last meeting, the resheeting, additional resheeting funds, a lot of that work had already been commenced or executed. So we are backing and undertaking proactive work in combination, but most certainly with regards to this maintenance funding, the majority of it has been reactive.
All right, any further discussion on that?
I think council are doing a fair job. When you look at the weather we've had, the way the water does lift the roads and the amount of traffic, and I know just coming through Canowindra, the number of trucks don't have to do much to tear up a road. And I think if people just drove to the conditions of the road at this moment, we might get through this and see them back in their pristine conditions.
I've got to go against that a bit, Jen, because you can't blame people though. When you get the holes are so big now, some of those holes are getting dangerous. So yeah, I'll quite happily give some more money.
All right, no further discussion there. I'll put that. All those in favour?
Yep.
Against, that's carried. Item 18 is a modification of DA 2018/00843 restaurant and concept approval of cellar door premises lot B, B179711 194 Nancarrow Lane, Nashdale. Mover please. Moved by Councillor Jones, seconded by Councillor Oldham. Now just in relation to this, as of yesterday, the applicants have made a further modification request, and therefore the report supplied to council is not really applicable. So therefore, I'll take your leave to ask the Deputy General Manager, Heather, to update you with the further modifications and to outline the modification now.
Through you, Mr. Chair. The application before you is to amend the Princely development out on Nancarrow Lane, and the proposal had three components in it, and it relates to
seeking variation to several conditions of development consent to allow for ingress from Nancarrow Lane and egress onto Mount Lofty Road. And a third component was to amend the internal car park. The proponent has now had opportunity to read the planning report and the conditions of consent, and late yesterday afternoon advised that after reviewing those, they would like to remove the proposed entrance onto Mount Lofty Road from their modification. They went on to say that they would adhere to the existing internal roadway requirements, accessing and exiting the development via proposed Nancarrow Lane access, and they wanted to proceed with the car park modification as submitted. The application before you, of course, looks largely at the traffic impacts and the road impacts. The normal standard when you've got a development assessment is you also have the notice of approval. So again, what is before you is for those three components of the modification. However, the proponent has now indicated they wish to withdraw 2 out of those 3 components. What is left is an internal review of their car park layout, and on page 52 of your report, there's really sort of only one line now in everything you've got in front of you that is relevant to where the proponent is now seeking to go. And on page 52, under parking and access, it says something along the lines of the redesign of the car park will allow for safer pedestrian access to the building. An increase of 5 car parking spaces to 35 is noted and is considered satisfactory. The body of the report is assessing the arrangements for vehicles turning off Nancarrow Lane and back out onto Mount Lofty, which has now been superseded by the proponent indicating they don't wish to proceed with that. Therefore, it's very difficult to ask you as councillors to vote on what's in front of you because the goalposts have moved again. But what is being sought in that modification is really quite minor. It's a reconfiguration of the internal car park. It doesn't impact at all upon neighbouring properties or upon vehicular access to the road network. My advice is that you have 2 options. You could either defer this matter and we will come back to you in November with a revised report, or the other thing that I wish to put before you for your consideration is the possibility of an amendment that then seeks to delegate to the General Manager the determination of this application. Because we're now talking about a very minor impact. We're talking about 5 freeform car parks, and we've already in this planning report indicated that there is no environmental impact. But we will need to refresh the notice of consent, and we need to have the time to go through that notice of consent to make sure that we have made the adjustments back to where it needs to be. So in summary, the more contentious parts of the application are being withdrawn. We're left with a very minor impact of an internal car park rearrangement, and the options to the council are potentially to defer until the November meeting for a revised report, or to delegate to the General Manager in this instance the determination of the modification, which is solely going to be the modification to the internal car park arrangement. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, I'm happy to delegate to, I'm happy to delegate that to the General Manager. I've had a lot of info and watched a lot on this, and the main concerns in that area was the Mount Lofty Road. And if that's been removed, I think the concerns of the community would be allayed.
Councillor Batten.
Yeah, a couple of questions. One's procedural, Mr Mayor, and the other one's in relation to the proposal. The change from a one-way flow of traffic from Nancarrow to Mount Lofty back to one where Nancarrow only becomes both entry and exit. Have we got an assessment of the impact on traffic flow, the volume of traffic that would mean on Nancarrow, and any safety issues associated with that?
Through you, Mr Chair, that's been the whole intent of the application all the way through, to have ingress-egress solely off Nancarrow Lane, so the status quo remains.
That's good. The other question, Mr Mayor, is the procedural one was, we'll be in caretaker provisions for November. I would think, so there'd only be one or two options, wouldn't it? The general manager to approve it, or we defer it beyond to the next term of council.
Well, through you, Mr Chair, it's possible that it may not be captured by the caretaker mode in that there are only 3 submissions. They're not objections, and 2 of those submissions are from the same individual. So the restrictions for assessment of determinations in the November meeting are where it's a development application that there's 20 or 25, whatever, there's quite a numerical value of submissions. But again, sort of just erring to caution, this is perhaps one of the bigger DAs that the council has dealt with in the past. The status quo would remain under the current, under what's being proposed now, but it's whether or not the council wishes to be the determining authority, or whether, given that it is now a very minor matter, you would consider a delegation to the general manager as a one-off for this one.
Just in response to that too, you're correct in that the process of delegating it to the general manager would speed up the process, allows the proponent to get on with things with this DA that's been around for a while. So you're correct in that, Councillor Davis.
Yes, I'd like to see this put up, Mr Mayor. I think that it should go ahead, because I think that they have been quite diligent in their bookwork here up until now, until this late change. And I've certainly supported this development right from the start. I think it's a good development. It's a good cellar door development, and one which is certainly needed in that area. Thank you.
Councillor Nash.
Yeah, I just want to know, Heather, if, will they still change the width of the road? Like that's in here too. Is that going to be changed, or it says if it's only going one way, because it was going 2 ways or something, it's all a bit...
Through you, Mr Chair, that what we would do, this report ceases at this point. We would need to prepare a fresh development assessment that relates only to the final request for the modification, which is the internal car park. So this report becomes superseded. And that's why I'm suggesting that you either defer it or you delegate it, because we really need to do a reassessment to a much minor level. So it's no longer on the table. We're not reducing the access off Nancarrow. We're not allowing one-way access onto Mount Lofty. So for the clarity of the situation, there would be a new planning assessment as requested by the proponent that only deals with the rearrangement of the internal car park. It doesn't touch the traffic arrangements both in or out of the site.
Councillor Jones.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. As per, or given the advice from the Deputy General Manager of Services, I suggest, or my recommendation is that I'd move an amendment to say that Council delegate to the General Manager the determination of this development application for the modification of restaurant and concept approval for a cellar door premises at Nancarrow Lane, Ashdale.
Can I have a second for that? Second by Councillor Mull. Do you wish to speak to that?
Yeah. Only to agree with the comments that have been said, very minor, no impact on surrounding landholders, and certainly all the submissions we've seen or received were in relation to Loftus Road, so minor impact, and have complete faith in the General Manager to make the determination and allow Parenti Wine to get on with business and not be bogged down in bureaucracy.
Thank you. Does anybody wish to speak against that?
No, I don't wish to speak against that. I wish to just confirm what I said before, that I agree with that, and I would be prepared as the secretary of that motion to put it to the General Manager to make the final decision.
Thank you. We've already got a second to the amendment, but that's fine. You wish to speak to that, Paul?
Oh, no, I was just going to support what they've said, but, you know, for a council to bounce something to the next council is an easier way out of doing something simple. Why would you need a new council to go through all this again, when it's so easy for us to do it properly?
All right, nobody wishes to speak against that. I'll put the amendment. All those in favour? Against? That's carried, so the amendment now becomes the motion. Yeah, the amendment we don't. So now the amendment is now the motion as per the recommendation, which I can't really see, but I remember it. All right, I'll put that. All those in, I need to show hands for this. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Okie dokie. Item 19 is request for donation. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Weaver, second by Councillor Durkin. That council donate 500 Long McDonald House. Any discussion on that at all? Councillor Durkin?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. If the Councillor Weaver as a mover is happy with this, I'd like to add a second dot point to this become a recurring annual donation on behalf of council. I think it's a charity we're really going to get behind, and I don't think it should be just a one-off. Just keep it going every year. Just throw $500 their way.
Through you, Mr Mayor, perhaps we could deal with that by putting it in next council's delivery program, so we could do it by delivery program at a time. That's right. It's a bit, sometimes can be misconstrued, putting in place ongoing commitments to the next council. If you're comfortable with us putting it in that delivery program, that's an ongoing process.
Mr Mayor, I'll withdraw what I said, and I'll go up with the GM just said.
Thank you, Councillor.
Well said, Councillor Durkin. All right, no further discussion. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 20 is the Village Enhancement Fund 2021-22. Could I have a mover, please?
Move it.
Moved by Councillor Batten, second by Councillor Newsom. Any discussion on that? Councillor Batten, wish to speak to that at all? Fair enough, no problem. Councillor Weaver has a question.
Could I just ask a question? Is that their full quota used up in that one? Mm. Okay.
All right, there's no further discussion on that. I'll
Yes.
put that. Oh, Councillor Mullins.
No, I just want to, I fully support the proposal. I just want to make the comment that the Village Enhancement Fund was for people to enhance their villages. Now, I know a lawnmower will enhance your village by mowing the lawns. That seems to me to be part of equipment or infrastructure or something like that, not something that makes the look, feel and ambience of your village be enhanced. And I think it probably is in the wrong funding system. I don't want to take it out of it, but we've got to be careful that we don't get things creeping into the Village Enhancement Fund, which was set up so many years ago for the specific purpose of doing just that, to be visible and ownable, and why don't they do this and fix it? The lawnmower to me doesn't do that, but I'm quite happy for them to enhance their village by getting a lawnmower. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you're just getting a little bit mixed up there. This is a new fund that's going to each of the progress associations, not what you were describing as that village enhancement or improvement fund.
Through you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, sorry, it's difficult because you could also call it a town improvement fund, but that'll get confused with Canoundra's arrangement. So we run out of prefixes that probably to disassociate it. So but at the Village Enhancement Fund, it is in line with the policy that we put up just recently.
All right, no further discussion. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 21 is the Manildra Master Plan. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Mullins moved this. Councillor Nash, the mover, seconder. Councillor Mullins will be the seconder. All right, any discussion on that? Councillor Nash, would you like to discuss that? Would you?
No, I'd just like to thank you and the General Manager for coming along and encouraging the Mardia to get this master plan done, and I hope that we get a lot of good work done. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 22 is the Community Assistance Program 2021-22, Round 1. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Weaver, seconded by Councillor Newsom. All right, the recommendation is approve applications 1 to 11 on the listed projects. Is everybody happy with that or wish to discuss any? No discussion, all happy? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 23, Union Picnic Day 2021. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Durkin.
No, Mr Mayor, sorry, can I just clarify, do I need to declare an interest because I've got a family member that's now employed on council and is a paid union member?
I would think so.
I haven't got many declarations left, so I'm just trying to get one out there. Just trying to jam some in. I'm happy to stick a yellow one in if you want, I'll walk out just.
I don't think that would really apply. There's no real pecuniary gain being given to that above.
I just won't vote for it. Is it?
Yes, no, but I duly noted, but I think we'll be right.
All right. Any discussion other than family interest? I don't know. Top secret.
Well, just what, through you, Mr Mayor, well, it is actually a union picnic day. I know prior to me getting here it was,
Yeah, I need a mover. You jumped in too quick. Moved by Councillor Oldham, seconded by Councillor Nash. Thank you.
yeah, just through you, Mr Mayor, just to clarify that because there is a fair bit of history in the union picnic day at Cabon, but it's exactly that, a union picnic day, so it's a union event, not a Cabon council event. So they obviously no one would mind you knowing where it is, but it's actually for the staff and the union rather than a all of council situation. However, in the past it was like that, but and I'm not aware of any staff being unhappy with their past arrangement, but I think we had to clarify that a union picnic day is a union function, and we facilitate that, and council facilitate as you've just done by providing them with a day to do that.
No further discussion on the picnic day? I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried.
I believe it's a come not, but
All right, item 24 is question for next meeting. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Davison, seconded by Councillor Dirk.
Well, I can, yeah.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for next meeting? The 20-something of November? Is that a question for next meeting? What's the next meeting? Is that it?
Can we bring a report back?
No, I just noticed that other councils that had their last meeting this month, so you said they're going to get that, and
We have a
Mr
meeting.
Mayor, yes,
Still have a meeting.
Through you, Mr Mayor, a lot of councils do not have the last meeting, but we've decided to have the last meeting, and we've got some staff presentations, and obviously, yeah, so we'll finish off the year on. Same, the usual pattern, yes.
No questions answered. Nobody has any questions for next meeting? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? That's carried. Item 25 is the business paper items for noting. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Weaver, seconded by Councillor Trevors. Anybody wish to call any items for noting? No? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Against? Carried. This is like the last week of school today. Yeah. Item 26 is matters of urgency. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Trevors, seconded by Councillor Nash. Does anybody have any matters of urgency? No? I'll put that. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Against? That's carried. Item 27 is the committee of the whole section of the meeting. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Oldham, seconded by Councillor Trevors. We have nothing in the committee of the whole. So I'll put that. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Against? That is carried. So the late item. Is everybody with me on item 28? Item 28, which is the carbon neutral strategy development, which has been moved by Councillor Batten, seconded by Councillor Oldham. It's one of those extras, the number 28. You with me? Yep. Councillor Batten, you wish to speak to me?
Yeah, I actually will make a comment, Mr Mayor. I actually commend the General Manager and staff for this initiative. It's probably one of the most important decisions that's going to come up in front of the next council, our carbon neutral strategy. In fact, the importance of it is the target that will be set for 2030. I don't know whether people keep up with the science of what's happening, but the Paris Accord, the Paris Conference in 2015 set a target of 1.5 degrees above the pre-industrial temperature for this planet. That target would require one of Scott Morrison's miracles to actually achieve. The most likely scenario, if we adopt net zero by 2050, is somewhere around 2 to 2.4 degrees. So the consequence of that means a place like Sydney and Melbourne are going to experience on a regular basis 50-degree days. Some parts of Australia will actually become uninhabitable. Alice Springs, for example, the probability of people living in Alice Springs, if that happens, is about almost zero. If we keep going on the trajectory that we are in Australia right now, despite the machinations of the National Party, which has been disgraceful over the last week or so, we would be on something like 3.4 degrees. That would be absolutely catastrophic for this planet and the human race and every other species that's on the planet. So this is an absolutely critical decision for the next council, and it's really pleasing to see that we're actually, accepting the responsibility to do something about it, because we're actually stealing, not borrowing, we're stealing from the future of our grandkids if we don't. So I definitely commend this. And the other thing about it is it's pleasing to see in terms of our renewable energy action plan, that's actually a subset of this. And it is pleasing to see that we're actually funding it out of that renewable energy action plan funding that we've actually already set. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Any further discussion on that? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Against? That's carried. All right, we'll move out of the